Hello and welcome back to Research Made Easy channel. If you are following up on our How to Write Your Research Proposal series, by now you have formed a general idea about what research is, what are research characteristics, what are the steps of a research process, and what are the components of a research proposal. In this video, we will explain the most confusing and foundational steps of writing a research proposal, which is choosing your research topic. To follow more on this series, please subscribe to Research Made Easy channel. So, choosing your research topic can be challenging and time-consuming, especially if you are not sure what you are going to study. The following are the steps that will take you through the simplification of the process of how to choose your research topic. So, the first step is that before moving and digging into the research topic, it would be wise to familiarize yourself with the research process. And by this we mean that the researcher needs to understand the basic elements of what research is. What is the research problem? What is a research question? What is literature review? What are methods, qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methods? There are many basic elements. Some of these elements have been explained in our previous videos. However, for more, stay tuned and subscribe to our channel. For the rest of the information, now we can move on to describe that while doing your familiarization with the research process, do not get lost while understanding the research elements. A superficial understanding will do. It will only help you formulate an idea and understand the big picture of how research works and what elements you need to cover while choosing which topic you will study. By understanding the big picture, you avoid hitting a dead end. Now you have familiarized yourself with the research process, you will move on to step number 2, which is understanding your research assignment. In this step, it's vital to avoid spending hours on ideas that will not be allowed by university. So while understanding your research assignment, there are things to keep in mind. First, the topic originality. How unique is your topic? This could depend on the degree you're studying. Is it a master's or a PhD? What are the restrictions? Which topics are allowed within which scope? Are there any limitations? Do you need certain participants? What are the methods that are allowed? Are there any specific requirements of qualitative, quantitative, or mixed methodology? What are the ethical considerations, which is all requirements and guidelines everyone needs to adhere to when conducting a research? For example, certain clearance from certain organizations, limited access to some people, or limited access to some data. After understanding your research assignment requirements, moving on to step 3, which is choosing your broad area and describing it in few words. So initially, the researcher will identify the broad area they would like to research in and describe it in 2 to 5 words. The aim is to narrow it down along the process. If the researcher does not have a specific broad area in mind, they could utilize the following methods to generate some. An area chosen by committee members, an area chosen by the advisor or supervisor. The researcher also might be interested in a specific area or simply using brainstorming. So an example of a broad area could be social media, leadership, or a specific medical illness. So for the sake of this example, we will choose hypertension as a specific medical illness and a broad area to describe along the following steps. However, while choosing your broad area, it is advised that the researcher considers the following. The researcher must be intellectually interested in the topic, but not emotionally attached, to avoid bringing his or her subjective bias into the study. Also, stick with what you have experience in and knowledge in. Consider a full-time faculty that is interested in the topic, and a possibility of becoming support to your subject. And finally, what is your vision for your career pathway in the future? So the outcome of this step is a title crafted for the broad area you intend to study in 2 to 5 words. Taking it into step number 4. In this step now, we'll start narrowing down the chosen area through a general literature search. The researcher will start some general literature search, but the aim is to further narrow down this broad topic into a study area. The researcher is advised to spend enough time in the library to do a thorough literature search with the following steps. The first is to identify keywords that he starts with. In searching in the broad area, this would be through brainstorming. Then, they will initiate past dissertation search through those keywords, and they will utilize these dissertations to add more to their keywords list to search further in their broad area. Based on these keywords and their search, they will select dissertations that think might be relevant to their interest and broad topic. Selection could be based on reading the titles, which should be descriptive of the study. Do not read the dissertations thoroughly. Instead, start by scanning them by reading the abstract to understand what the research is all about. When you think the abstract leads to an interest of a specific topic, focus area, you can move on to reading the introduction. And by reading the introduction, the researcher will understand how other researchers narrowed down the topic from a broad area into a specific area, how they turned a research topic into a research question. While scanning, the researcher is advised to consider the following factors while scanning the focused areas. What is the type of topics other researchers considered in that specific broad area? How broad or how narrow the topic is? How original the topic is? And how important or justified the topic is? So, the outcome step number 4 is that the researcher must form a general idea about the focus area to study under the general topic, and will further review more literature on that focus area. From our general example, we chose specific broad area on our last steps, which was hypertension as a medical illness. A potential focus area based on step number 4 could be hypertension treatment or hypertension complication prevention. So taking these specific focus area into step number 5, where the researcher will review literature to understand the existing current knowledge on those focus areas. In this step, the researcher will review as many articles available on the focus area generated from the previous steps. Also, they will select specific keywords to use for further search within that focused area. It's advised to consider journal articles and review articles to join recent evidence, which will help show the big picture of the state of knowledge. After searching and collecting the evidence on the focused area, they will scan the abstract, introduction, and conclusion. From scanning to understand current existing knowledge, they will identify existing gaps that need to be filled, which are considered the missing pieces of the puzzle that might be an ideal research topic. A hint of advice is that gaps could be found most likely in the conclusion and discussion, guiding you to where further research is needed. And the final step, we could have a look at the reference list and do a snowballing strategy. In the snowballing strategy, the researcher will review the reference list and pull out the articles that could be related to their focus area. This snowballing should be related to the focus area, and landing on a minimum of 20 is optimal. So, as we chose hypertension treatment in our previous step as a focus area, a potential area based on this step could be comparison between new hypertension treatments and other antihypertensive in the markets. Or, if the focus area was hypertension complication prevention, a research gap could be the impact of a specific intervention on the prevention of a specific complication. For example, the effect of eye examination screening on eye complication prevention. So, the outcome of this step is that the researcher has identified a specific focus area that is potential for studying. Taking this specific focus area into step number 6. Now, based on this specific focus area, they will choose potential topics. And those potential topics, it's advised to choose around 2, 3, or even 5 potential topics that might be studied. We'd like to also raise the attention of the researcher that different studies are done in different countries, industries, different demographic groups, and socio-demographic conditions. And the researcher, when choosing their topic, they must justify the reason for conducting their topic, and considering the following factors while choosing those specific topics would be wise. First is the relevance. The researcher must justify the need to conduct such study or replicate a study done in another country. A valid argument will be required. It is vital to think about the relevance in advance to avoid the attempt of justifying the research at a later stage, which might create a weak justification. For example, cesarean section rate was calculated among many countries internationally, but not in your country, and this study might help practitioners with future medical decisions or policies. You need to convince the reader that the research you intend to do is worthwhile. It's vital to think about relevance in advance to avoid the attempt of justifying the research at a later stage, making it weak justification. Another point is the feasibility. Is the research topic you have chosen possible to be conducted with the time frame and resources you have at hand? And third, the replicability, which is a mistake a lot of researchers do. When you replicate another study, you need to justify it, and replicability can be justified with multiple strategies. For example, some studies have been done in developed countries but not developing countries. It could be done on a different legal system between countries. We can do it on an unusual group of participants like immigrants. Or we can take a perspective and reverse it. For example, how do students fail exams instead of pass exams? We could present it in an unusual way, through graphs of geographical locations. Or, for example, studying a timely topic like immigration issues. So the outcome of this step, the researcher has reviewed all the references that might be related to his focus area and further refined the potential topics to study. The questions might become more focused, and some specific areas might be added, while others might be removed. Taking him to step number 7, which is write a preliminary title for your narrow topic. While writing your title, consider to make it brief and avoid wasting words. We'll write a title for each potential topic you have chosen. Make sure that your research begins with straightforward, uncomplicated thoughts that are easy to read and understand. For example, you can start with my studies about helping medical students lead a better self-directed learning. Another tip to consider is to pose it as a question, like what's the best treatment for hypertension? So the outcome of this step is you have written a title for each potential topic, taking it to step number 8, where we will further refine those research topics that you have chosen. We'll narrow it down through evaluating these topics against specific criteria. So what criteria would we consider? First, the originality. So this could be done through listing them on a table or an Excel sheet while comparing each topic against these criteria. In the originality section, you will consider, is the topic unique? Is your institution interested in that topic? Then moving into importance. Does the topic add new knowledge to the pool of existing knowledge? Does it contribute to existing literature? Does it add or extend existing theory? How does this research contribute to your personal goals of doing more research or advancing towards a degree? The literature. Is there enough literature to build on? It should be something new, yet not overdone. Data access. A researcher must consider that are the participants willing to participate in the study? Resources. Does the researcher has enough resources to collect data over a sustained period of time of the study? Analysis. Can the data be analyzed? Are you able to analyze data correctly? Do you have desire to learn qualitative data analysis, for example? Potential attraction of the topic. It's favored to have a topic that would be interesting to audience internationally. This would be favored by journal editors, committee members, conference planners, and funding agencies. And finally, feasibility. Time taken to complete a project and publishing your results. After evaluating and further refining which further research topics is favored by you against these criteria, you will go to step number 9, which is write a brief paragraph summarizing each topic and using an elevator pitch. While summarizing in the paragraph, you will explain the big picture of the research, why it's original and why it's important, and how you will conduct the research. You will use this brief paragraph to go to step number 10, which is seeking advice. So before proceeding with writing your proposal, use these paragraphs to seek advice from your colleagues, academic advisors, faculty committee members, or noted authorities for your reaction. So after seeking advice from all of these people, the outcome would be that you have chosen your potential topic finally to go ahead and further refine your research into the literature review and that specific topic and start writing your proposal. So we have come to an end of our video. From this step, and after you have chosen your research topic, we will teach you how to further do a very focused literature search to collect all the articles related to that specific topic. And from there, we'll start writing our research proposal. To keep track of our next video, like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more.